Hello, my friends. I'm out on my back porch. You can probably hear my fountain going, and you can hear my neighbor's air conditioner and such going. But anyway, it's probably about 85 degrees, so I'm hoping to make this a short video. But these are my two little shoe boxes that I had 50 worms in each one. This one got the biodegradable packing peanuts, and this one got regular the shredded cardboard, and then of course they were fed. This one did not fare as well as this side did. I ended up counting about 50 worms here and 150 on this one, like I don't know, a couple months later. So I went back and I just kind of like tried to clean everybody out and add bedding to both sides and add, banana peels and the traditional things that we've all been doing. So I want to see if, one, they are both surviving okay. I'll put the lids over here. And before we do that, okay, oh, I see worms already. And I had frozen aloe that I had actually scraped the juices off of because Rick hurt his leg and he's diabetic, and if you are diabetic, you know you have a hard time healing. So anyway, I scraped all the goo off of it and I made a goo pack for him, and he heals very quickly with that. So anyway, I wanted to do kind of an experiment. My friend Patrick over at Vermicompost Learn by Doing, he had done this with he put in a little aloe, and I'm doing this so that I'm keeping one side to one side and the other side to the other side. Let me see and I put this in a few days ago, and I didn't think that they would break it down because there really wasn't much for them. But you can see it, it's already getting paper thin. Let me take all that old stuff out. And what I wanted to do, I'm going to put another glove on so that I don't hurt myself. Anybody who has aloe vera in their yard knows that they usually come in with some wounds. If you look at this, you can see that this just is, if this were my bare finger, it would cut through it. And so what I do is I'll cut that in half so it's a little easier for me to work with. But I'll take it down, if you can see that. Just going to cut those spikes off on each side, because for people who aren't familiar with aloe, you might not realize what it's like inside. Excuse me, I'm usually working with this is my design knife that I always keep, and it's decades old, but I keep it sharpened, and so it works really well whenever I'm arranging. And I usually use a good knife, good cutting knife, whenever I'm separating my aloe. I'm not doing it well because can you see all the goo? Can you see how much is on there? And if I want the worms to eat this and eat it faster, I just find that if I go like this and kind of cut that up a little bit, now when I'm making my salve, what I normally do is just scrape this with a knife. You can, just scrape it off with a knife and you get all nice goo to it. But what I'm going to do here is go ahead and put this in for them. I'm going to separate that a little bit. Put that in. Let's see if they just like the goo by itself. No scraping. No scraping involved. And let me just take another one. What size was that? About like that, right? There we go. Oops. Never works well when you have somebody watching, right? There we go. And you can see all that nice goo, all those inner cells, membrane of the plant. This is a wonderful thing to have, wonderful plant to have in Florida especially. I mean, well, I suppose it's good anywhere, but great here if you get bug bites, if you get sunburn, if you scrape yourself. And then the other thing I wanted to do was to actually take it and chop it up this way and see if they would come inside. You know, I'm the person who's big on putting everything in the NutriBullet and seeing if they'll eat it. Let's see if they go for it this way. They're little, smacking their little lips. There we are. There you are, kids. Give you another couple pieces. Fair's fair. Sister gets a lollipop, gets a popsicle, then brother gets one too, huh? So, okay, so now I'm going to just give them each a little bit of coffee, which acts as a food. It was really dry, wasn't it? Oh, okay. And a little bit of eggshells, and that acts as a grit. And I'm going to give them a little bit of liquid. This is actually a worm tea that I made the other day, and you guys know how I make worm tea. If you go to my playlist, you'll see that it's so simple. It's just so simple to make worm tea. Okay, and then I think I'm going to lay this aloe that they've already been working on back on top, and their little covering. I think that was a little bit of food, and we'll lay this one on here. And even though there's no goo left on it, I'm laying it goo side down. There we go. All right. So we're putting the lids back on. Let's remember that this was the side that only had 50 worms that we've been feeding, and this is the one that was up to 150. And so we're going to let's give this another week or so, more towards the end of August, and we'll see. I think pretty soon maybe I'll pull them back out and see if I've got more than 50 in here and more than 150 in that side. So that was it. Let's call it the aloe vera feeding. I want to see if we can get these worms to start reproducing, and you know, this is such a small bin, it's barely a square foot. This is, 8 inches by 14 is what, 80, 112? And so that's less than maybe 2/3. So capacity, it probably should be able to hold 500-600 worms. I think that would really be packed in too tight, but even if we got to about 300 worms, I would think that was a great thing. So garden what you've got. I hope you'll subscribe and ring the bell. If you need any information on worms, I'm very simple about how I keep my worms. I don't have any degrees in it. I've been doing it for 13 years, and I just do what works for me. So if you're interested, please feel free to ask any questions, and I'll be here to answer them. So take care, everybody, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon, me and my worms in my garden. Bye-bye for now.